Year 3. So today we're going to be looking at time. So there is your learning challenge, and it's about reading and estimating time with increased accuracy to the nearest minute. So that means that we're trying to be as specific as we can as to what time it is. So I've put some key words that I think might be useful on my whiteboard here. So before we begin, it might be an idea that you pause the video and just have a think about what vocabulary you know to do with time, what facts do you know to do with time. You might use some of these words as a bit of a starting point. See if you can explain what those things are. So let's have a think about some key things that we should already know. So hopefully you know that the big hand, so it's my blue hand here, is the minute hand. It's a bit squeaky, my clock. Hopefully you know that there are 60 minutes within 1 hour. So my big hand is going to go all the way around in 1 hour, which is 60 minutes. If you can see on my clock here, it's got those 5-minute intervals, but not all clocks do. Some clocks don't even have the numbers, so it's important that you kind of understand how the clock works. So then our little hand is the hours, and hopefully you know that in a day there are 24 hours that make up a day. But there are only 12 hours on my clock. Does anybody know why that is? Well, that's when those words AM and PM, morning and afternoon, come into play. So in the morning there are 12 hours, so our hour hand goes all the way round, and then in the afternoon it goes all the way round again, so there are 24 hours in total. So let's have a think about what you should already know in terms of telling the time. So we should be aware, let's move our hands round. So when our big hand, our minute hand, is on the 12, what does that mean? Hopefully you said o'clock. We're then going to turn it to here. So it's now at the 3. How many minutes past is that? Well, you might know it is 1/4 past. 1/4 is the same as what? I'm going to count in my 5. Starting from the top, it's gone 5, 10, 15 minutes. My clock here has actually got the numbers on. 15 to help me. Now, what you could do is you could draw a clock face to have a practice with, or you could make some sticky labels to put around a clock that you've got at home. If you can remember, in our classroom, we've got those, they're almost like flower petals that go round and tell us how many minutes past those numbers are. So we've got o'clock, 1/4 and then here we should know as 1/2 which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes past. We should then know the 9 when it gets to the 9. What's the 9 mean? The 9's a tricky one. So we would say 1/4 because it's 15 minutes to the next hour. But how many minutes past is it? Well, let's do our 5s again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So we've got o'clock, 1/4, 1/2, 1/4. We then get all the way back to the o'clock again. So we've practiced counting in 5s around our clock to get all the way to 60. But you might notice that actually there are lots of little points on our clock. Now, if you counted them all, you would get to 60 because they represent the 60 minutes that our minute hand moves all the way to get round to the hour. So we can be a lot more accurate when telling the time than just saying 1/4 past, 1/2 past, or 1/4 to, or o'clock, because we know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, so it might be a little bit more specific than that. So let's just look at the hour hand. So you can see my hour hand is at the 2. My minute hand is at the 12, so it's o'clock. So on my clock here, it says 2 o'clock. Now, if some time passed, let's move it here. If we counted in our 5s, we can see it's 5 past. And again, but let's make it a little bit more tricky. I'm going to go to this one. Now, it kind of looks like 1/4 past. It's near the 15, but it's past the 15 and it's kind of close to the 20, but we need to be a little bit more specific if we're going to be really accurate. So I'm going to bring it closer so you can see. So you should be able to see that's actually pointing here. Now if this is my 15, this would be 16. And what would this one be? What's after 16? 17. Let's just check. 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so that would be 17 minutes past 2. Okay. Let's carry on and see what other times we might try. So we've got 20 past. Oh, let's look at this one. So it kind of looks like 1/2 past. So you could just be like, oh yeah, it's 1/2. But if we're going to be accurate, because we're in year 3 and we like to be accurate, if I can hold this a little bit closer, you can see it's not quite on the 30. Now you could do this 2 ways. You might know what's 1 before 30. Or we could maybe start from the 25 here, because we know the 5 is the 25, and count 26, oops, sorry, 27, 28, 29. So it's actually 29 minutes past 2. Now things get a little bit tricky when we pass this halfway mark, because we're thinking not just past, but we're also thinking to the next hour. And hopefully you can see that my hour hand here, stand this up a little bit, it's not exactly on the 2 anymore. It's actually kind of coming towards the 3, because we're halfway past the 2 o'clock now. So you can see it's kind of halfway between the 2 and the 3, which would be the next hour. So let's look past this 2:30 then. I'm going to come to this one. So we looked at this one before, and it's exactly on my 9, which I can do my 5s round, and I know that's 45 minutes. So we could say it's 45 minutes past 2, or it's 15 minutes until we get to 3. So 15 minutes, do you remember we said was the same as a quarter. So we could say it's 2:45, because we'll just need to go 1/4 of the clock until we get to 3, or 15 minutes to. Now that's an easy one. Let's see if we need to be a little bit more accurate and to the nearest minute. Let's try this one then. Let me bring it closer so you can see a little bit more accurately. So you should be able to see that if we counted all the way around in our 5s, we get to 45, and then I can count in my 1s. 46, 47, 48. So we can see that it's 48 minutes past the 2, or we might look at how many minutes to the 12 it might be. So I'm going to work backwards a little bit. So I'm going to count in my 5s. 5, 10, 15's too far, so we'll just go 5, 10, and then I'll count in my ones, 11, 12. So we could say it's 12 minutes to the next hour, so 12 minutes to 3, or we can say it's 48 minutes past the 2. So hopefully you guys can now have a bit of a practice. Maybe you've got some clocks in your house that you can see. You might be able to have a go at drawing some of your own clock faces to try and tell the time. I'm going to switch my camera around in just a second so we can have a go and see how we record those times and write them down. So when we are recording time, there are 2 ways that we could write it down. So if we are using an analog clock, which has got a clock face like the one we've just looked at, we usually record and write down the minute first and then the hour. So if we look at this time that we just thought about, the minutes we said was 48 past or 12 minutes to. So usually when it's this far, when it's past, we say to the next hour. So we'll go with 12 minutes to. So we're going to write the minutes first. And then we're going to write the hour. So the hour, it's almost at 3. So it's 12 minutes to 3. So 12 minutes to. So if we were writing in digital, it's a little bit confusing because we would write the hour first and then the minute. So if I can show you on my watch here, it's 11:46. So we've got the hour is 11 and 46 is the minute. So if we are doing this time here, so we're all the same, we're going to do the hour first and then the minute. So the minutes, we do how many minutes passed. So we said that was 48, and it was 48 minutes past 2. Okay, so when we're using that digital, we don't really worry about the how many minutes to. It's always the hour first and then the minute. Okay, let's have another look at a different example. So with this example, we can see that our hour hand is at the 4. Our minute hand is 5, 6, 7 minutes past. So let's think about how we're going to record that. So if we were writing it as digital, we know that our hour is 4 and our minute was 7. But I'm not just going to write 7 on its own because that wouldn't make sense. We need to make sure that we've got 2 digits in there because it goes all the way up to 60 and there's 2 digits in 60. So we're going to use 0, 7. Yeah, because that shows us we've got no tens almost and 7 units, 7 minutes. So the analog time then, so we're doing the minutes first, so we've got 7 minutes past. And then the hour is 4. So what you can then have a go at is drawing your own clock faces, creating a time and having a go at reading that time and writing it down. You might write it in analog form or digital form. So you can see here I've drawn around something circular. I've drawn or written on, sorry, my hours around the side, and I've just drawn my 2 hands. Now the trick is to make it really obvious which one's your short hour hand and which one is your long minute hand. so it's clearer to see. Let's have a see at this time I've done here then. So it's at the 11, so if I was writing it in digital, and then my minute hand, 5, 10, 20, that's just past 20, so I would say that is 11:21, or, oh yeah, 21 minutes past 11. So you can have a go at drawing your own clock faces then. If you've got something circular, go for it. If you haven't, you can just draw any old circle. So you'll have a little dot in the middle. Then I tend to do the 12 and the 6 first. And then I do the 3 and the 9, which makes it easier to fill in the gaps. So we'll have 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops, that's not a 10. 10, 11. So then you can draw on your hands and have a go at writing the time like I have done there. Good luck.